Hello, dear friends. The era of secrecy is coming to an end, and humanity's sovereignty is being restored. Opinion piece. It's not so easy. A bumpy road. Truth embargo. Intelligence alert. Sovereign timeline. Logistical challenge. Geopolitical collapse. Benevolent disruption. Two divergent futures. 5-phase global plan. Let's start. The main logistical barrier to global change is not technology itself, but the geopolitical and economic collapse of the current industrial complex. Its deployment would act as a Trojan horse, a benevolent disruption that would render traditional industry obsolete. Is this a utopian dream or a calculated roadmap for the future? Critics argue that such claims lack solid empirical evidence and rely on anonymous and unverifiable sources. However, for those who believe in the existence of hidden technology, this would represent humanity's ultimate liberation. But it wouldn't be as easy as it seems. This is a summary of the current world situation based on information received from various sources that may or may not be accurate or truthful, according to the intelligence alert for Operation Disclosure. One thing is clear. Regardless of whether these theories reflect a future reality or a collective aspiration for a better world, the world's current systems are under intense public scrutiny. The drive for transparency, autonomy, and freedom is a movement that is shaping the global dialogue in the 21st century. Financial reset. A temporary financial shutdown would be necessary for a large-scale migration from one financial system to another one. The concept of a gold-backed system seeks to restore the perceived stability and value of currency. In contrast to current fiat systems, a quantum financial system would be a new global standard designed to prevent corruption and ensure equitable distribution. Our current economic banking system relies on layers of legacy software, international clearing houses, and real-time record updates. An instantaneous switch to a gold-backed system would require a seamless, error-free migration of trillions of data points across 209 countries. The banking sector's biggest fear is systemic risk. A 10-day shutdown would trigger a loss of confidence in the currency, leading to a mass migration to barter economies or local private currencies, which would be very difficult to control or standardize. The idea of a new financial system is not new. Innovations like blockchain are transforming traditional finance. A centralized, gold-backed quantum system would entail a radical shift in monetary policy and financial architecture. Closing all banks and ATMs globally for 10 days would cause unprecedented economic chaos, with basic supplies, and would be a drastic measure. Global blackout. The central mechanism of the EBS emergency broadcasting system is Starlink, which its vast constellation of satellites in low Earth orbit, designed to provide global internet coverage. This suggests an advanced capability to send a direct deafening alert signal to every cell phone, bypassing traditional cellular networks and media channels. This direct satellite-to-device communication would enable a universal alert, forcing the public to tune in to televisions or radios for further instructions. It would create a media blackout, allowing the ABS to control the narrative by broadcasting pre-recorded videos with truthful information in multiple languages. This controlled information environment is presented as crucial for revealing crimes and trials. The narrative entails a direct-to-device transmission capability that would override existing systems, making synchronized global information delivery feasible. A media shutdown would then ensure that no alternative narrative could compete. Producing, translating, and verifying such a quantity of truthful information would require an army of researchers, linguists, and journalists working for months or even years. Achieving a global information blackout would require unanimous global consent or a show of force, neither of which occurs overnight without considerable preparation. Martial law. With a total information blackout and systemic changes underway, military law would be applied to maintain order and ensure public safety during the transition. This control of resources is presented as a necessary measure to prevent chaos to ensure basic needs are met while dismantling old systems. In a scenario of unprecedented global upheaval and systemic change, the imposition of such a law appears to be a logical step for managing the population and critical infrastructure, but this would not imply a smooth transition. Friction between national militaries with very different loyalties and interests would lead to fragmented regional control rather than a unified global transition. The suspension of Internet services and the limitation of telephone functionality for 10 days is proposed as a measure to prevent interference during the transmission of the ABS. The introduction of an encrypted signal application through the new Starlink system and a new, more efficient quantum internet implies an upgrade of the global communication infrastructure. Disabling the old communication channels would allow for a new, secure system. A quantum internet represents a next-generation technology that could leverage quantum entanglement to achieve unprecedented speed and security free from current controls. After 10 days, the old systems of government, education, finance, health, commerce, and business are described as being dismantled and replaced for the better. This implies a coordinated global effort to introduce new and improved models across all sectors of society, designed to foster peace, prosperity, and freedom. The revealed truth is likely to be seen as the catalyst for public acceptance and demand for these changes. I repeat the phrase. The revealed truth is likely to be seen as the catalyst for public acceptance of and demand for these changes. Individual nations can declare martial law and impose lockdowns, but the global scenario implies a single supreme authority capable of controlling the armed forces of all 209 nations. That level of coordinated global control far exceeds the mandate or capacity of any current international body. Humanitarian aid. On the other hand, deploying the much touted medical beds and training the necessary personnel to operate them would take decades. If they were inaugurated tomorrow, the enormous number of patients seeking treatment would overwhelm any facility, causing chaos, the opposite of the promised humanitarian aid. If this technology is stored in secure underground bases, the logistical challenge of transitioning from a shadow operation to a global public service would be enormous. Producing enough advanced devices to achieve planetary coverage in 7 days would require a global manufacturing capacity far greater than anything currently imaginable. Establishing free healing centers worldwide and training millions of people to operate these devices would require a global infrastructure built from the ground up. 5 phases. According to Ismael Perez, a meticulously orchestrated 5-phase plan is on the way to ensure humanity can process the coming revelations without societal collapse. First, mass UFO sightings. It is to say, an increase in identified aerial phenomena designed to accustom the public to a non-terrestrial presence. Second, strategic interventions in plural, that is, direct coalition actions to disable aggressive systems, indicating that higher intelligences will not allow nuclear or planet-wide destruction. Third, sovereign recognition. Nations will begin to officially acknowledge ET contract, breaking a decades-long embargo on the truth. Fourth, release of advanced healing technologies with the introduction of suppressed science, including frequency-based healings to alleviate human suffering. Fifth, a major systemic shift, that is, a period of civil disobedience and the natural collapse of centralized and corrupt institutions that no longer serve to the common good. Crossroads. We are witnessing the transition from an old, centralized and technocratic world order to a multipolar international order, and at the banner of operation of United Sovereignty Operation, major powers are working to dismantle the globalist networks of the dark side. The goal is a decentralized world where nations maintain their unique identities, while cooperating as sovereign equals. This shift marks the decline of the cabal, whose influence is estimated to have decreased by 95%. We find ourselves at the crossroads between 2 divergent futures. A dystopian timeline with a future of technocratic control, the dominance of a controlling artificial intelligence, and the loss of human spiritual autonomy. B, a sovereign timeline with an organic and awakened future, characterized by external technological advancements and the expansion of the inner consciousness. The success of the coalition depends on humanity's collective capacity to choose a positive and organic path. It's not about waiting for savers from the stars, but about an inner evolution of human consciousness. Although progress is significant, the path remains bumpy. There have been recent attempts by remnants of the old guard to disrupt this transition through artificially induced crises, including viral outbreaks. However, the coalition reports that countermeasures have been very effective in containing these threats, preventing them from reaching the catastrophic levels envisioned by their creators. As we approach the summer of 2026 in the Northern Hemisphere, the call to action for those observing these events is clear: education and preparation. Those seeking answers are encouraged to integrate science with spirituality, understanding the metaphysical symbolism of current era and the true intention of cosmic neighbors for a harmonious transition is crucial. Sabotage. The cabal is undermining the new order, according to Proletario. So much has happened in the last few days that it's a challenge to piece it all together as it unfolds. The pace is brutal. Events are piling up faster than one can analyze them. All eyes are on Beijing on May 14th and 15th, after a handshake that will confirm whether the switches are being sealed or simply covered with paint. The machine is running at full speed, and the old architecture is throwing everything it has left into the void, while the hidden layers struggle to find footholds. The machine is now moving at terminal velocity or speed. What took decades of careful planning, depth traps, proxy wars, narrative control, underground vaults, and familiar power is crumbling in weeks. The convergence is brutal, elegant and relentless. Each node of the list is colliding with the others like tectonic plates. The old gut feels it in their bones, and panic is spreading from Toronto's penthouses to London's vaults, passing through the business centres where the last vestiges of hope for government continuity still whisper. Curious. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz called the EU a complete failure. Mexican Senator Lili Tellez says Mexico has become a narco-state. The death of the old world model is shocking and traumatic, said Obama's former political director, who is in Toronto. A declassified CIA government document referencing a temple beneath the Sphinx has reignited interest in the medical hall of records said to lie beneath Egypt's Great Sphinx. In declassified images released by the Pentagon, a spherical UFO from the Pleiades lands in the desert. The Pleiadians appears to use telepathy to explain to the locals that God is the origin of all things, as a gift of the universe. According to Commander Valtor, King Charles III died on May 8, 2026, under the supervision of the White Hats. The royal family is in lockdown. They will make the formal announcement during the EBS broadcast. Charles is gone and the crown is next. One of John McAfee's last messages to the world, in quotes, "Some of you may be living an existence of dissatisfaction, emptiness and longing. This feeling of longing is actually the loss of your freedom, and it is freedom you crave. Wake up a little more and do something about it. Your body is not a bag of chemicals waiting for a pill," says Paul Gaulicold. It is an electrical system that operates on frequencies. Every cell vibrates, every organ resonates, and the right frequency can restore what the wrong one destroyed. They didn't bury technology because it failed. They buried it because it worked. Solar storm alert. Minor geomagnetic storms are possible on Friday, May 15th, when a stream of solar wind is expected to impact Earth. This gaseous material originates from a large hole in the Sun's atmosphere. The new moon will provide dark skies for viewing auroras at high latitudes. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.